Hello, beautiful people. um, Another question in the Q&A series. Let's see. It says, "How do you define sex, and at what age did you lose your virginity?" Oh, well, talk about getting personal. um, how do I define sex? Well, sex is easy to define as far as I think there's different types of sex. So when I think of sex, I don't think of just intercourse as far as insertion, but I think that oral sex is still a form of sex. I think that masturbation with other people is still a form of sex. And of course, intercourse as well is sex. I think those are all sexual acts. So that's how I personally define sex. When did I? Well, I was young. Let's just say I was young. I was in my teens, in my young teens. It wasn't the best experience in the world. It wasn't so great, but yeah. So I was young in my teens. What I will say is I feel that people should wait. I think people should wait. I think that a lot comes along with sex that you don't understand when you're at a young age. You don't understand all the mental and emotional components that comes along with the physical aspect. So my advice to anyone that's questioning, whether they're ready for sex or should they be having sex, I think that you should wait before you do take that step. And I think that applies in as an adult as well. If you're getting to know someone, you're hanging out, you want a date, you want a relationship, I think that you should hold off on sex for a bit. Not to say that there's a rule that you need 30 days, 90 days, 60 days. I'm not saying that. But I think that if your goal is to genuinely build a relationship with someone, I think that sex should be held off for a little bit so you can kind of get to know them for who they are before you take that step. Because even as an adult, there's still a lot that comes with sex that maybe we don't even think about before we do that. So yeah, hope I answered your question. Oh, beautiful people. All right, time for another question, the Q&A. So, it's a two-part question. It says, would you consider it to be a problem if the guy you're talking to is constantly working on building his future? And the second question is, how much time do you require from someone you're trying to get to know? I guess it makes sense for those questions to be together. Would I consider it to be a problem if he's always working on his future? I don't think that's a problem only because I feel like I'm in the same space. So I feel like what would be key is for both of us to maintain that line of communication and being on the same page. Being that I feel that I'm in that same space of working, busting my ass to get things done to make sure that my future is where I want it to be, I understand that he's not always going to be available when I need him. But I'm okay with that because the same thing applies, vice versa. I think that it could be an issue if you're not on that same page, or if you're at a different place where you've already done all that, or you are where you want to be, or your level of commitment and drive is different from his, then that's when it becomes an issue. But if you both have that same level of push, I think that it could be a good thing because you understand that okay, he has to do what he has to do, I gotta do what I gotta do, and you can remind each other of each other's goal and purpose. So I feel like that could actually be a good thing. How much time do I require? It depends. In the past, I feel like I've been needy, where we hang out a lot every day, every other day. But kind of how I said earlier, I feel that I'm in a different space because I'm working towards bigger and better things. So I feel that the amount of time isn't as much. I feel like I can go a whole week without seeing boo or bae if I'm working, and same thing, vice versa. So yeah, not that much time. I think that what's most important is just maintaining that open line of communication. I think that you do have to check in. So that's something that's very important. You do have to check in with each other. You do have to communicate. And if you're trying to build that relationship, you do have to spend time. But I don't think it has to be a point where you have to be together every single day. I don't think so. So yeah. Hope I answered your question. Beautiful people. How are we? I'm in such a good mood today. So, of course, it's question time, Q&A. The question says, what are you looking for in a guy? The $1 million question, right? At this point, at this stage, I think what's most important to me more than anything is finding a guy, meeting a guy, being with a guy who I can genuinely consider my friend. I think that it's so important to establish that friendship first. I really, really do. I feel like a lot of times we can get into something, we meet someone, we're attracted to them, they make us feel good and all warm and gooey inside, and then we automatically place them in a position of boyfriend or boo, babe, whatever, and that's awesome. But I think what happens a lot of times is we start placing all these expectations on them from jump because we have this ideal in our head. We have this picture of what we think a boyfriend is or what we want our boyfriend to be, and we automatically put that person into that space. And I think that before we even get to that level, we should be establishing that friendship, that sense of camaraderie, that sense of togetherness where it's like, I'm supporting you because you are who you are as an individual, not because you're my boyfriend, or not because, not for any selfish reason. So I think that more than anything, that's number one. And then of course all the other things. I like to laugh. So someone who can make me laugh is always great. I love to eat. Love to eat. So someone who can cook is always a great thing. Someone who's patient. Someone who is patient. I know you look on social media, I may seem like the model citizen, but I know. That's just not it. not in terms of, relationships, boyfriend and boyfriend. So no, yeah, someone who's patient. And yeah. I think that's really simple things. Of course, I feel like at this stage, trust, honesty, all that is a given. Like, I don't even have to say that. Dating at this stage in my life, that's not even like up for discussion. So, like I said, beyond that, someone who's funny, someone who can cook, someone who's patient, someone who's willing to compromise, and someone who really likes to have a good time. Yeah. Simple. Easy stuff.